Good evening, welcome to Premier League Review, week number 9. Tonight we are also going to touch upon two other of the biggest games in world football, as it has been an exceptionally exciting week in the footballing world. So without much further ado, let's get straight into it. Firstly, tonight we're going to be looking at West Ham Manchester City. So the title, the headline here is Hammers rustle up victory as new brand of football continues against City. Now, it maybe shouldn't have come as a massive surprise that the West Ham triumphed here. Man City have been unable to maintain sort of consistency they would like so far this season. West Ham, on the contrast, have. And in recent weeks, the brand of football that West Ham have been offering up has been exciting, it's been vibrant, and at the heart of that has been Alex Song. Now, this has been touched upon by numerous journalists and the Guardian podcast, so I'm not going to labour the point too much. Arsenal obviously had the opportunity to go back in for him. And it's not even so much that Song could play a role in defensive midfield for Arsenal. Alex Song's a very competent centre-back, and I just feel if Arsenal had someone of his ability as a second, maybe third choice centre-back, as a squad they'd be in a much better position. Anyway, back to the West Ham game. City may perhaps feel a little bit aggrieved. They obviously hit the woodwork a couple of occasions. But I'll go back to this point that I've made previously about City. If Sergio Aguero isn't on top form, I think City are going to struggle. That is why I don't think they're going to win the Premier League, and why I think getting rid of Negredo was a huge mistake. Had a good first season in England and quite short-sighted when Jovetic is unproven in this league, and Dzeko is hit and miss. West Ham may struggle now themselves with Saka out, but Enner Valencia is also proving to be a shrewd piece of business by Big Sam. And it must just be a real delight for the West Ham fans that after years of pretty stodgy football, they're now playing a more expansive brand. Second headline tonight is Sunderland must feel as if Black Cat has crossed their path as their bad luck continues. Now, some predicted that Arsenal would struggle here, that there would be a backlash of sorts from Sunderland. By and large, Arsenal did struggle. Towards the end of the game, as it opened up and Sunderland pushed for that elusive equaliser, Arsenal had several opportunities, but through the course of the game, I think it must be quite concerning to Arsene Wenger that players of the undoubted ability of his in midfield and attack were unable to sufficiently unlock a very poor Sunderland defence. It was really two massive errors defensively that cost Sunderland here. The first one was brilliantly taken by Alexis Sanchez, who one of very few Arsenal players to emerge with any credit from fixtures in recent weeks. And the second goal, I don't know what Vito Mannone is doing. It's not just unlucky anymore. I think it's pure incompetence, and I think Gus Poyet has to get Pantilimon in. He just passed it to Alexis Sanchez in the penalty spot. Really weird. But yeah, a pretty poor game between two fairly average teams. I think Arsenal have got a lot of work to do. Third headline this week: Chelsea accused by Gary Neville of bottling it as Van Persie springs to life in the last minute. Now, I thought this was an intriguing game. I really enjoyed it. Chelsea, I thought, were fairly comfortable for most of the game. Fabregas was well documented to have had a quiet game. And it was interesting how Fellaini has come back into it in the last few games, and what a good job he did on Cesc Fabregas defensively. He's obviously proved that Everton that he's capable of playing at this level in the Premier League, so that in theory there's no reason why he can't do it at Manchester United. It's the Champions League and and competing for the title, where someone of a higher quality will be needed. But he's proven that he can be useful in preventing other teams from playing, and that's a key ingredient in any successful team. I actually thought Januzaj had a good game. I don't understand criticism of him. I know Scott Maybury certainly singled Januzaj for criticism, and I don't know what game he was watching, as I thought the young Belgian was dangerous and dynamic all game. Yeah, sorry for the quick venue change. My POW flatmate came back, so I needed to switch. I think Chelsea will be relatively satisfied with that result, although the nature of the draw was obviously frustrating, and given the fact they had a couple of penalty shouts turned down, it may be slightly frustrating. But I think in the grand scheme of things, Mourinho will take a draw there. And I also don't think, generally, I think Man U will be pretty happy with that as well. Again, this gives them the opportunity to push on and improve. And defensively, they were actually a lot better than they have been for most of this season. Of course, Diego Costa was out, and that lessened the penetrative nature of Chelsea's attack. But even so, when you've got the likes of Oscar and Hazard probing away, a lot of teams will suffer, and Man United acquitted themselves particularly well. Moving on now to El Clasico, and a very, very good game of football in terms of the excitement and the quality of the attacking football on display. Barcelona had the best of the first half hour, and Messi could have made it 2-0. Great opportunity. Neymar obviously scored the opening goal. He's in great form. But as I wrote in an article at the beginning of this season, Barcelona have begun pursuing their own Galactico policy. They've not rebuilt the team in the manner that's required. In midfield, for example, the entire team has always been a functioning unit. It's always had a very clear system and identity of football that it plays, and the whole team knows how it works, and it works as one coherent unit. That's no longer the case. Xavi and Iniesta are potentially maybe not over the hill, but they're certainly getting towards the end of their careers. They've got rid of Fabregas. Rakitic probably should have started the El Clasico, but at the same time probably isn't of the quality required to compete with the likes of Modric and Kroos. They seem to have an attack and a defence and nothing that binds the two. The style of football has suffered, and I think Barcelona will take several years to get back to their former glories. They aren't buying players of the requisite quality in the right positions. They're pursuing a Galactico policy, as Real Madrid once did, with limited success. Madrid, on the other hand, although I completely disagree with the sales of Di Maria and Xabi Alonso, they have bought players who have helped to make a more constituent whole as a team. You have Kroos, you have Modric, fullbacks. Both did their jobs particularly well in this game. If you can contrast that to the selection of Matau ahead of Alba for Barcelona. Very, very strange decision, and one that allowed Madrid to bomb forward and attack his flank with increased success all night. It'll be interesting to see how the season pans out, given that Atletico Madrid have also started relatively well and Valencia looking good form as well. But an ominous sign for Barcelona earlier on, and a signal that they're not all as well at the Nou Camp. Lastly, we are going to look at the biggest game of the weekend, and a 1-1 draw in the Edinburgh derby. Probably Hearts' worst performance of the season. Certainly one of the worst that I've seen. They had no sort of coherence. Passing was poor. Defending was woeful at times, and Hibs really should have had the game seen off by the time that Ozturk strode forward and unleashed that ridiculous shot from about 35 yards. At the time, there was a collective sigh of "What are you doing?" And when it nestled in the back of the neck, it was the back of the net. Apologies. It was. We met with the signs of disbelief more than anything. Again, huge, psychologically huge for Hearts. That goal maintains your unbeaten run, maintains the sort of feel-good feeling and the almost feeling of invincibility around the place. And yet the performance might also be good in a way, and it provides Robbie Neilson with the opportunity to sit the players down and say, look, didn't turn up, very lucky to get a result. We cannot play that way again, otherwise we're going to lose games.